Now, let's begin to learn about the notion of intercultural communication competence. We will begin with its definition and key element. Intercultural communication competence comprises four elements: intercultural attitude, intercultural knowledge, intercultural communication skills, and critical cultural awareness. When someone has intercultural communication competence, he or she must possess correct intercultural attitudes, proper intercultural knowledge, and he can apply practical intercultural communication skills and have critical cultural awareness. And then we will talk about each element one by one. When possessing intercultural communication competence, the individual is expected to achieve all these goals. The first one, this person can interact with others, accepting that there are other perspectives and perceptions of the world. Interacting here with others means acting mutually, giving and taking in return. There's exchange of ideas and messages. One-way communication is not interaction. Thus, learning how to accept there are other angles of looking at the world and doing things is important. Having intercultural communication competence aims to reach such a goal, having an exchange and interaction, starting with accepting that there are different points of view. Second, this person can also mediate between different perspectives to be conscious of their evaluation of a difference. Mediating between different perspectives indicates that once you know there are different perspectives existing, you are cautious about the difference and try to figure out why there's such a difference. Normally, our cultural values affect our judgment, so we want to be very careful when evaluating the cultural difference. To mediate means that you intervene between people in a dispute in order to bring about an agreement or to restore a friendly relation. If you can be conscious of your evaluation of a difference, you may not impose your value on others, forcing other people to do the same thing as you do. That would be the goal of intercultural communication competence. Okay, the third goal here is intercultural communication competence is necessary whether a different language is present or not. For example, we may also need intercultural communication competence even for Chinese speakers. If people speak the same language and communicate with each other, then we won't have any conflict in the country or in Chinese-speaking region, right? But the fact is, even people who speak the same language cannot always understand and communicate with each other. You turn on TV, you watch the TV news program, you will see that the people fight with each other. Different political parties fight each other, shouting each other all the time, right? Don't they speak the same language? Of course they speak the same language, they all speak Mandarin. However, it's very hard for some people to get along with each other, right? So, this is why we need intercultural communication competence, because people fight with each other not because they don't use correct grammar or they use wrong vocabulary. Normally, they fight with each other because they have different values. So that's why we need to learn how to communicate on different values. So eventually that we can work together toward a better goal. All right, so these are the three goals of intercultural communication competence. Now, let's study each element one by one. The first thing to do is to hold an intercultural attitude. There are 4 key points to develop the right intercultural attitude. First, understand your own culture and have curiosity and openness to other cultures. Second, recognize the benefits associated with the cultural diversity. Third, do not impose your cultural values on others. Fourth, acknowledging the importance of building practical intercultural skills. So you need to remember these four things, keep these four things in mind to have correct intercultural attitude. So now let me explain all these four ideas here. The first idea here is that a so-called interculturality means one can shuttle between cultures. You can shuttle between your culture and other cultures. Your body and soul may travel somewhere for a while, but they are able to return. Interculturality doesn't mean that one goes abroad and admires that foreign culture while forgetting one's own cultural roots. We keep open-minded and curious about other cultures with the premises that you understand your own culture. Anyone who doesn't know about their cultural roots, when they communicate with others, will eventually feel lost. When you wish to earn love and respect from others in communicative process, first you need to love and respect yourself. So you need to learn about your own culture first. Second, recognize the benefits associated with the cultural diversity. This can be helpful to intercultural communication. Some people are afraid of differences or feel anxious about uncertainties. They want others to follow their way or no way. Holding a big ego, bias, or prejudice will hinder any possible exchanges, which is not the right attitude for communication. So we want to be very careful. And we want to know that there are many benefits associated with cultural diversity. For example, the research has shown that diversity fosters new ideas, innovation, more possibilities, more resources, and richer experiences. Cultural diversity simply makes life more fun and the world more enjoyable, doesn't it? Next, do not impose your cultural values on others. Don't force others to believe what you believe, to do what you want to do. In fact, even you want to do so, you may fail to do so, because your counterparts may simply fight with you, fighting for what they want. We need to know that universal values are rare. What you think or good here is not necessarily right or good in another culture. What you used to do every day here may be something that the people won't do at all forever. We will talk more about this in detail in the following sessions, but for now, the right attitude is that you should not assume that other people will think and act as you do. Last but not least, keep learning practical intercultural skills. This is very important. In the past, people sent telegrams to people far away. Then people posted letters. Later, people had telephones, emails, video conferences, instant messages, and social media. Soon, we will have a meta-universe using AI, AR, and VR to communicate. Well, the information communication technology evolves fast. Communication tools keep changing. They all aim to help people to communicate faster and better. Some communication skills, however, are fundamental. No matter what medium you use to communicate, all these communication skills are applicable. So you will need to learn these essential skills for communication and learn about the latest form of communication. So to keep these four things in mind can help you to have correct intercultural attitude. So this is the first key element of intercultural communication competence. Next, with this slide, we will see the meaning of intercultural knowledge. When studying intercultural knowledge, there are also 4 essential things. Okay, number 1, understand the importance and essence of your own culture. Number 2, develop knowledge of social process and problems in your own and other societies. Number 3, develop knowledge of how social groups function. Number 4, recognize people's multiple identities and relative values. So first of all, as mentioned earlier, learning about your own culture is necessary. If people are ignorant about their culture, they may go out but cannot return. After they go to a foreign country, they may completely take another culture without the ability to shuffle between cultures. They will become the so-called acculturation. Acculturation means cultural modification of an individual, group, or people by adapting to or borrowing traits from another culture. Well, if you are going to immigrate to a foreign country and become a citizen, acculturation may be good for you. However, if not, as a global villager, you have your hometown. You visit other towns and you can return to your hometown. You should be able to travel around and work with people from different places and cultures. You can go in and out freely. This is what we call intercultural competence. Second, during this semester, you will spend much time learning intercultural knowledge. You will learn about the cultural systems to know about social process and social problems. Well, what you can take away for now is to remember that the beauties and sorrows often go together. Every country has beautiful things. However, even the paradise has its sorrows and problems. And vice versa. Every country has its social issues, but also has its beauties and valuable cultural legacies. So when you study intercultural knowledge properly, you will know why there is such cultural difference, because there's a difference between individualistic society and collective society. And you will realize that the cultural difference may cause some difficulty in communication. However, if you know about this, you will be able to prevent the misunderstanding. Okay, so next, as for multiple identities, here we mentioned multiple identities. It means that nationality is only one kind of identity. People nowadays have what we call hyphen identity. Hyphen identity like Chinese American, Vietnamese and Taiwanese, Dutch German, or African French. The first term indicates a person's ethnicity, race, and the second term is the nationality. Besides, everyone plays many roles in society. A person's occupation, professional training, religion, and political tendency can become identities too. So it is important to realize that a person's multiple identity can influence values as well. Therefore, when learning intercultural knowledge, you should not be like a tourist, just reading about tourist spots or delicious food. Practical intercultural understanding includes understanding cultural systems, cultural values, which direct people's thoughts and their behaviors. In addition, general knowledge about world history and geography will also help your intercultural communication and intercultural adaptation. Next, we come to the third element of intercultural communication competence, intercultural skills. Since no matter how much intercultural knowledge you have learned or studied, well, it's not possible that you know everything before any intercultural encounter. So it is quite important to acquire and apply intercultural skills to cope with unplanned and unexpected intercultural encounter or your cross-cultural meetings. Well, intercultural skills indicates all these things. It means that you can compare, analyze, and interpret the culture perceived. You can relate your own cultural experiences to cope with unexpected communication problems. You can develop constructive communication skills and also acquire conflict resolution skills for more effective intercultural experiences. Well, we will introduce all these skills further in the following sessions. During the semester, you are taking other foreign languages courses. Well, if you take other foreign language courses, that will be also very good. That will be also very helpful. But I just want to remind you that except for learning linguistic knowledge, such as grammar and vocabulary, I would like to encourage you to pay attention to communications in that foreign language too. For example, suppose you are learning Japanese, French, and Spanish, or any other foreign language. Well, you may want to note how different language speakers show their appreciation, show their apology, refusion, or time perception, etc. Also, notice how they do turn-taking in the flow of conversation and how to express their opinions. You may also want to learn about their body language. Okay, non-verbal language often matters a lot in communication. So please know that linguistic knowledge is very limited in communication. The obstacle to communication mustn't lie in your use of wrong grammar or pronunciation only. You will find that normally if there is communication difficulty, that's because you have a different opinion, different values, or different ways of doing things. We will need communication skills to communicate over all those differences in our different values, opinions, and behaviors. So this is all we are going to do. You will learn intercultural knowledge, you will acquire intercultural communication skills, and we hope we can use all these knowledge and skills to cope with communication problems. Okay, finally, let's look at the last element of intercultural communication competence, critical cultural awareness. Having cultural awareness means, first, acknowledging respect for human dignity and human rights. Second, be aware of your own values and how they influence your views of other people's values. It's crucial to remain cautious in the process of intercultural communication. When you meet strangers or foreigners, you want to be careful that you are not using any filter to judge others. These filters, or we say colored glasses, can be like stereotypes, bias, or prejudice. Sometimes, well, actually most of the time, our cultural values also influence our judgments. For example, in Taiwan, many people show concern and love to close friends by asking personal questions. How much money do you earn? Do you have a girlfriend? Do you have a boyfriend? These are personal questions. However, the same questions can be seen as rude and inappropriate in many other cultures. Respecting other people's rights and feelings and their values is very important. Our careless or unthoughtful remarks and ignorance may cause profound misunderstanding in the process of intercultural communication. Therefore, the last element of intercultural communication competence here is what we call critical cultural awareness. The meaning of critical here suggests you examine yourself now and then. You want to remind yourself that culture plays a vital role in the process of communication. If there is a conflict in content, maybe that's not personal, Maybe it's because of culture, different cultural values, different cultural backgrounds. Try to use intercultural knowledge to interpret in which cultural dimension the misunderstanding or conflict occurs, and then apply intercultural skills to resolve the problem. Thus, although we talk about the critical cultural awareness as last, well, in fact, it's very important and it is interrelated to other three elements. So, in conclusion, let's review the four elements of intercultural communication competence. Anyone who would like to develop such a competence need to work on these things: intercultural attitude, intercultural knowledge, intercultural communication skills, and critical cultural awareness. We can conclude with some straightforward advices on these four aspects. First, to cultivate correct intercultural attitude, you must think, understand, and respect different perspectives. Second, to increase intercultural knowledge, you must study and read extensively, not only the good parts, the good sides of a society, but also its social process and its social problems. Third, to develop intercultural communication skills, learn foreign languages and skills for communication and cultural adaptation. Fourth, to have a cultural awareness, reflect on your intercultural exchange, knowing them, and be mindful at all times. Finally, here comes our checkpoint. After studying this lecture, please try to answer the following 10 questions to help you review the lesson content. Question number 1. Why would you like to take this course? Can this course help you fulfill your aim and objectives? Question number 2. What is your result of the intercultural assessment? How do you plan to improve your score? Question 3. Why is the world flat? Number 4. What abilities does the ever-changing world need? Number 5. What are the 4 elements of intercultural communication competence? Number 6. What can be regarded as a correct intercultural attitude? Number 7. What should students learn to enrich their intercultural knowledge? Number 8. What are the essential intercultural skills for students to learn? Number 9. What is the difference between intercultural attitude and intercultural awareness? The last question, what is your study plan for this course? This is our reference list for today's lecture. If you are interested in the content of today's lesson, you are encouraged to study the reference books or use the keyword to search for more and newer resources on the internet for further study. This is the end of today's lesson. I hope you will find it helpful, and let's meet next time.